All right, welcome back, everyone. Thank you guys for tuning into another episode of ours. Today, we have like a subject that I think many of us will.
Everybody, no.
I think we all
It's
go through.
everybody
Everybody
goes
goes
through
through
this,
it.
yeah.
Everybody goes through this.
Seriously.
But I think today, like the main purpose of our episode is like, how do you deal with this? Like, how do you handle this? So I think this is something that is going to be probably a little bit different from our previous ones because we're going to be questioning each other. Like, how do you handle this? Like,
Yeah.
how do you cope with that? Like, what works for you?
Yeah.
And the subject is changes. So, sis, how do you feel about change and what is your initial response to it?
It depends on what it is. Like there's some changes that I feel like I can adapt easy to something new. Then there's changes that are like some changes are good. Like I got a new furniture set, like let's say. Like
Yeah.
a change or nice change to the house. So I remember when I got my windows because we
Mhm.
had the old windows.
Yeah.
Bro, I was dying for that change.
That change was
I
like,
was like, I want this
I need
change
this
to happen.
change.
I need like new windows. I can't deal with these windows anymore. So when that change came, I was like, yes, this is the best. Like my house is so pretty now. And then like I painted it to like adapt to the changing of the windows. So like that change was like welcoming, right? But then there's changes that are hard that you're like, I don't this
like,
one
why
does this have to happen? So Emma's entering like the PK3
Okay, yeah.
stage, right? So now we're talking about like changing her from schools.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
So now I'm like that change, I'm kind of like,
yeah, you already
I don't know.
you already got comfortable with the
I
daycare.
love the daycare that she's at,
teachers, you got
the
an
community that
acquaintance.
we've created there, and like how she loves it there. And then
Uh-huh.
like now having to think, okay, we have to kind of start thinking of
Transitioning
changing her
her.
to schools because
Mhm.
this school would then be her school for like the next 10 years. So I'm like, I don't know if I want to do that. So like that one, it's being met with like kind of a like a friction type of thing. Yeah, like a tug of war, like of wanting it and understanding that it's for a bettering, but then like also not wanting to let go of what I knew or like already
or what
currently
you're
have.
okay with right now.
Yeah,
We
so
could-
like there's changes that I'm super flexible and welcoming, and then there's changes that
Yeah.
I'm
In
not.
my case, like I think it's like the similar in a certain way. I think we all initially, depending on the change, obviously there's changes that we all know that are for good.
Mhm.
But when it comes to those changes that were like, wait, like, why is like why this? Like,
Yeah.
why does this happen? I think we all initially have that tough time.
Yeah.
I don't think nobody like goes, oh, it's great, yeah,
Yeah.
awesome. Like we all, I think somehow deep down, like we have that initial, like why did this have to change? Why does this have to happen like this? Like, but then it's like in the back of your head, um, you kind of have like, okay, like this could be a good thing. And like
Yeah.
you start that back and forth, like,
Mhm.
okay, maybe this could be for good, but it's like, why now? Like,
Yeah.
why does it have to happen now? Like, if I was so okay, everything was so okay. But I think it's important to always, I think change is something that it's like it's gonna happen.
It's inevitable.
It's gonna happen.
It's like
no
one of the
matter what.
most inevitable factors. Like
Exactly.
inevitable, you're gonna die. Inevitable, you're gonna age. Inevitable, change is
It's
going to
gonna
happen.
Tell me
Being a
about it.
baby.
In the 40s, it changes.
Really?
It changes in the
I'm
40s.
still in my 30s, so I don't know.
So no, like let me tell you, I'm going into 42 pretty soon, and I can tell you, like, there is change. And it's funny because everybody would always tell me, "Oh no, when you get to your 40s, you're changed." And like obviously, when I was like 39, I was like, what can change so much?
40.
40. Like 40 is like boom, and you're like, wait, what? Like I can't get up. Like I sit on the floor for a while, and when I want to get up from the floor, it's like, wait, hold up. Like I can't stand up the same way I used to. Like, and then now, like no lie, like now, like papers. Like if I'm reading something and you put it too close to me, I'm like, no, you gotta push it back.
Really?
Yes,
That really does happen?
It does
I
happen.
thought that was
And
like a myth.
no, it's not. I honestly thought it was a myth too.
I
And
thought my
thought,
mom was
everybody just being
exaggerating.
extra. And no, it's not. And then the other day I was talking to my coworker and he's like, oh, wait until you get in the 50s. So when you start shrinking. And I'm like, no. And he goes, yes, I didn't think it was true, but He's like, I just went recently and I got measured and I'm like 2 centimeters down. And I'm like, that can happen? That can happen. He goes, everything goes down. I'm like, no wonder they say 50 is the top of the hill. And then after there, it's downhill. And it's
You literally shrink.
You shrink. You go get bigger. Yeah. So right now, like for me, change. Right now, I'm hitting my 40s. Like I have seen difference. I do see that there's things that have like before I was able. You know me. I'm not the healthiest eater. I'm not the exercise person.
Yeah, Stephanie used to drink Coke and eat
Every day.
McDonald's every day.
And then there's foods now that before I would eat perfectly fine.
And now you
And
have
now
some
I
type-
can't. I also noticed that once I hit 40, like I had to cut down the time that I eat. Because even though I've said I've always been slim, like mind you, I've been slim.
Yeah.
But now after I hit 40, I realized that eating after a certain time, I started gaining weight. And I realized that it was me eating after like 7, 8 o'clock that I would get home from work. And I was eating. And then obviously once I eat, it's not like I go and do some kind of cardio or anything. Like I got home, got comfortable. And then by like 9:30, 10 o'clock, I was in bed. So that food was just there. Like, no. So Steph started realizing, oh no, 40s hit different.
Yeah, your body composition's changed.
Yeah, it hits completely different. So this change of my face has been an adjustment because I really realized that I'm like, whoa, like things do change. And even though you always think about like people are just being extra, people are just exaggerating. No, it does change. And you have to learn to adapt to this new change. And it's not bad. I think it helped me understand like there's certain things that I gotta eat better. So for me, like that was something that I've been adjusting to.
So I turn the question to you. What's the hardest change you've had to like walk through?
The hardest change that I have walked through. And to be honest with you, I think the hardest change that I ever walked through, and it's crazy because it was a change in good because it was something that I had desired for such a long time. But then at the same time, I lost something. So you're like looking at me, oh, what is that? I don't know.
I'm curious. Yeah.
I'm curious.
I'm literally candidly asking this question.
I'm telling you now, you're going to be like, oh my God, Steph, yes. And you probably never really thought about it at that time. But when I had my son, Matthew, 12 years ago, he was the greatest blessing because, you
were looking for him.
It took me a while to get pregnant. And it wasn't because there was anything wrong with me or my husband. It's just God's timing, God's plan. Yeah. And God knew the perfect time for it. Correct? When the day came that my son was born, I remember December 1st. I was so happy and I was so thrilled because it was something that I've been wanting for such a long time, which was to become a mom, to be able to have my son. But what happened like 10 days later? What happened? You remember?
No.
I lost my job.
That happened that early?
I lost my job. I lost my job literally 10 days later.
Wow.
So it was like God telling me like, I gave you change and I gave you what you wanted, but
it also comes with this.
But it also comes with this. Are you going to embrace it or are you going to like not? So I'm not gonna lie, like in top of that, it's the holiday season,
Facts. It's Christmas.
It's the Christmas
that
season.
happened. Oh my God.
Yeah, it was the Christmas season. I was super happy because obviously it's something that my husband and I had been looking for such a long time to have our son. But it was mixed with so much emotions because they're like, okay, now we have a baby. We have, diapers, formula, and all these other new expenses. And here, we're one income less. And we have like a mortgage to pay of an apartment. And we had this and that. And we're like, there's so many mixed emotions that come in and that start to like kind of create, like, how do I embrace this? But I remember that in the midst of that change, it was like God was like, okay, remember what you asked and look at what I'm giving you. Don't focus on what I took away from you. Because the same way I gave you this, I can give you something new.
Wow. You know what image I see? You seen the little meme? Like, it's not a meme, but little graphic on social. It's like Jesus with a little girl on. He's like, give me the teddy bear. And he has like a big teddy bear in the back.
Yeah. So in this moment, I was able to like say, you know what, God, like, you know what, like, I'm not gonna worry. This change, I'm going to embrace it because at the end, my son is something that I've been wanting, and you know how much I've prayed for him. And if you gave him to me now, it's because it was your perfect timing.
And that could be hard to
accept
because of the fact it's like, okay, God, yeah, you gave him to me, but like,
why would you
you
do
know,
it?
but like, why would you take
Do
this
this away.
away? How am I going to then like buy diapers and do all of this? But yet he provided.
He provided. I'm telling you, like he provided. Like
Mm.
my mortgage was paid, everything was done, and like nothing ever ended. Like everything kept flowing. Like everything kept working.
You were
And
never late on a payment.
exactly. And then what's so amazing is that God was able to tell me, you know what? Because I didn't give you, I took the job away from me. I was able to spend more time with my son. So with my first son,
And enjoy that gift.
I was able to enjoy at least the first 5 months of him just more.
Wow.
So God was like, you know, I need you to embrace what I'm giving you. And at the end afterwards, like, you know, God is so good. Like he did provide me again another job. I've learned to kind of go back and say, you know what, God, every time you've done a change, even though in that moment it looks dark, it looks unknown, I know that what's after that is better than what I had before. So I think that's something that I've learned throughout the years, especially like after my son's birth, is something that I've always kind of hold on to when it comes to change. Because it happens a lot. Like when change happens, it's like you can see there's something
You
good
mourn,
about it.
like, and you sort of mourn the lost, or like the you mourn what was before,
Exactly. And then
which is okay. You can mourn it. Yeah, you need to learn to like kind of embrace the new one, the new thing.
Exactly. And sometimes change does come. Like in my case, it came. Like I said, it was a change of me becoming a mom,
Embracing something new that you've
motherhood,
desired, but then mourning the loss of something else.
exactly, of being a working person, like a person who went to go to work. So it was like God was like, okay,
and all the securities that are attached to it too.
exactly. So God is like, okay, which one are we gonna like take fruit of? Which one are we going to like embrace? So for me now, like I can say like definitely change. There's moments where I look at change and I'm like, okay, don't know why, don't understand, but I'm not here to question.
Bring it on the age, because you're a little older than me.
Little, yeah,
And now you're like in a different stage.
Yeah,
You clearly said it, so I'm not
even-
calling you out on your age. You did it yourself. Mom always said, older you get, the harder it is to like accept or like go through change. Do you feel that happening with you as the older you gotten, like versus how you were in your 20s maybe?
You know, that's a good question. Like now that I'm like kind of trying to reflect back.
Like if you were to like if your husband were to walk in and like we have to sell the house and we got to go. Like would that be met with like
I don't think it would be met with such embracement as back in your youth. Like, okay, you know, YOLO, let's go for it, let's do it. Now, like, I think because there's so much things that you have to process, you go down that list and you're like, wait, but like, so what about this? What about that? Like, da 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 and da 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 da. So it kind of creates like a kind of like a break. You're like, wait. What do you mean we got to do that? Like, what do you mean like we have to go here? Like, no, like, so it's not that I'm completely stopping it or saying like no, but I do feel there's
you got more questions and like
there's more questions. It's not so just like, oh yeah, let's do it. Like, let's go for it. Like, no, wait, but that's gonna cause this, and if that causes this, how's that gonna happen? And if you know
this change means that happens, that changes,
means
this changes,
and like, and you know what that can affect. There's more of like a wait, like that, because sometimes we say one change, but we don't realize that that one change can also affect many
multiple
other
things. It's like a domino.
And I think the older you get, the more conscious you become of that domino effect. When you're younger, yeah, whatever, let's just go for it. Like you don't think, oh, then afterwards, you're like, oh man, that's right, because I did that, oh right. But I think the older you get, you do realize like, wait, no, if I do that, like that's gonna do this, and then if I do that, like so you start seeing like the many things that it affects that one change.
Yeah.
So for me, like I think it's that like I'm not gonna sit here that it's like super hard for me, but I can't understand why it can't be harder because you do kind of see more and you kind of like think more about it. It's not so like, okay,
Yeah.
you know.
I was curious because that's like one thing my mom, because I'm like, Mom, but it's okay. Like, it's good. And she was like, you don't understand. You'll see when you get older. It's not that easy. And I'm like,
Yeah, and
so now I'm like, wait,
and you
Stephanie's
and
older.
you know what
She's in a new
and you know
stage.
what I also think's what happens, and let's be real, the older we get, and that's just realistically like it's gonna happen to all of us. We get used to certain things, right? Because we don't learn at the same rate as the generations that are coming up. So for example, right now, I can have a house, like say a few years from now, probably when I'm in my mom's age. I'm pretty sure our kids' homes are going to be extremely futuristic, more futuristic than what we have right now.
Yeah.
But the reality is, we did not grow up with that. So we're used to what we have. So when the change comes of using these new technologies, which for them it's so easy because it's just pressing a button. It's not that easy the older you get because you see it. You see it with like with like say with like our parents sometimes, like even though our dad is very tech savvy in many things, but my mom, like she's like, no, like, yes, you say it's easy, but it's not easy for me.
Yeah.
It's going to make my, yeah, but no, give me the old fashioned way because it's what's normal for her. It's what she grew up with. It's what she's used to. So right now I look at it, I'm like, I think that's part of it. I think that's part of like, they'll say like you'll understand when you get older because we see it like, mom, but like why are you still using that if you can use this and this is so much more easier, mom? No, let me use what I know how to use. Like, let me do it because it's easier for me. Don't make me change it to something that I don't know how it works.
Yeah.
So I think when mommy relates to that, it's more of that aspect. It's like you'll understand when I get older that it's not easier to learn these things that you guys feel like it's so easy to learn. It's not that easy. So I think that's where a lot of like her situation, because I think a lot of the times we're like, hey, pero mom, mom, like just like why are you still doing it like this or like that? And she's like, hey, calm down. Remember, it's your mom.
So like
Explain to
now,
me slowly.
now that I'm older, I like in having this conversation, I'm like empathizing a little bit more with her in regards to moving. Because I'm like in a different position. I'm a wife and I'm a mom, and I'm making a home, right?
Exactly.
And we're making memories. And now I sit down and I think, would I want to sell this house? Would I ever want to really leave or get rid of this house? Like, I don't think so, because of just the emotional attachment that is there. So then I'm like, I empathize with her now. I'm like, oh, it wasn't that easy because
it's where she saw her
it's
kids.
where she saw her kids grow. It's where she saw certain like things being lived, and to having to like, having to let that go. I could understand where it's like leaving behind that memory.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like when we're young, it's like, yeah, but the memory still lives in your brain. And it's like, yeah, but it's not the same when you can't walk by it. And it's like, oh, that's where, you know, that happened, or where I saw this, or where I saw them take their first steps, or where we sat down, we had like, we lived this experience and we were laughing. So like, I get it.
Yeah.
Like, cause, and for instance, like my house, like my daddy has like told me like, why don't you just sell the house and you can get so much more with the value of that house somewhere else? And my husband and I were like, no, I think this house is just gonna be with us as long as it could possibly be, because we got married there. We've had our kids there. We're seeing them grow up there. And though, yes, we can get something much better.
But then at the same time, but then there's one change, and this is one change that I'm going to ask you.
Yeah.
What if God tells you,
You gotta get up and go?
Because that has happened.
That, yeah. And it can happen.
And it can happen. pick up and go.
That's why.
Because that happens a lot of
that
times.
happens a lot.
I remember, and I know there's a story.
Takes a lot of
It
faith
takes
to
a
do that.
story that my dad talks about, and it's a story that I really took in. It's one of his like his testimonies, and it's when God told him like, Jorge, okay, this business that you have, yes, no, no more, stop, because I need you to do this.
Mm-hmm.
So you battle because you're like
Yeah.
no, like how are you going to tell me to go do something when this is what provides? But then when God tells you stop and go, like let go and go over there.
Yeah. Let me tell you.
Right now, if you guys could see her, she would be like, she's like breathing and she's like, oh God, I've never thought about that right now. What if
No, that thought has always been in my mind.
Mhm.
Like, what if one day he tells us we gotta go? We gotta go live in another country. We gotta, for like my husband's job, or we have to go live in a different
Different
city
state.
or a different state.
Mhm.
And like the thought is hard. Like, I think I would definitely be like, I'm gonna pray about this, Lord, because I don't know if I'm really hearing you.
I don't think I'm.
I need
think there's
affirmations.
There's
Yeah.
interference coming with
Somebody's
that.
trying to hack the system right now. And I would have to pray about it because I think that would be very hard for me to deal with. I would have to like really cling
To God.
to God's promises and like cling to my faith because yeah, like I want to cry with just like
thinking about
thinking about it because like I said, for instance, my home.
But you know what's crazy right there?
Yeah.
What you're saying, which is like right now listening to you, it's so funny because it's such the human nature.
Yeah.
It's the human, like the
We don't
human.
want to let go of things.
We don't want to let go of the material things sometimes.
Yeah.
We hold so much value to them,
Yeah.
and sometimes we have to understand that when we go, none of that matters.
None of that goes with us.
None of that goes with us. The only thing that will go to heaven with you is what?
Yeah, your spirit.
Yeah, your spirit, obviously, but who are the only ones that go to heaven with you? Who? Your husband and your daughters.
Yeah.
So wherever they're at
Yeah.
is what matters.
Yeah.
That's home.
I hope God is not trying to like get us prepared.
You're not telling me that we're
I hope
moving.
you're not trying to prepare us in this conversation to
No,
let us know that we need to be ready to let go and go
somewhere.
Like we're recording this right now, and I'm actually thinking about because we're recording this, and at this present moment, there's like the fires in California,
Yeah.
and like you're just seeing like all of these people that had to literally pick up
and go.
Mm-hmm. Because
minutes.
in minutes, like in fractions of moments that they can't even think of.
What do I need to grab?
What do I have to take?
What do I have to grab?
And then now
still holding on to hope that, okay, we're going to come back.
And the house is going to be back. And now coming back and many of them not seeing a house. And that is a change that they're going to have to walk through.
Exactly.
And it's a change that, one, they weren't expecting, a change that they weren't desiring. I don't think any of them were like, I want my house to burn down. Like,
exactly.
They didn't want this, and now they are forcefully having to walk through this change.
Exactly.
And like it's tough, and it's gonna be something that I think and like listening to everything, really like take care of themselves mentally, because it's gonna be something more than physical and like of what they see. It's gonna be a mental and emotional battle, because a lot of people lost their homes of like generations that live there, like
exactly
50, 60 years.
Pictures, albums, videos, whatever
Memories that are
memories
gone,
that
yeah.
are there, that were there forever. And like you said, it has to be a big emotional thing, because it's like unfortunately, like I said, we hold a lot of value to those things.
Yeah.
And it's right now, like right now when you were talking, I was listening to you, and I'm like, you know what, like sometimes we have to remember that, number one, like how we started at the beginning, change
is inevitable.
It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. And sometimes we can kind of see it happen because it's change that we wanted. Like you talked about your windows, because it's something that you wanted. But then there's those changes that we weren't asking for, that we didn't want,
And now we have to walk through
and now
them.
we have to walk through them. So it's important to see, like, how do we actually walk through these moments? What do we actually do to walk through them?
Yeah. How do
Not
we like accept
accept
them?
them. So in my case, like, remember, I don't know if you remember, like, one of our previous podcasts, like, there's promises that God gives you.
Mm-hmm.
And I've told you that there's a promise that God has always, in many different scenarios that I've gone through, um, trying to become a mom, um, and in many other things, like,
When
he's
you
always,
lost your job, yeah.
when I lost, like, when I actually became a mom, and then,
Lost your job.
lost my job, um, my verse has always been Jeremiah 29:11.
I know the plans
That
I
I
have
have
for
for
you.
you. And now, a lot of the times when there's change, regardless of whatever change it is, that promise comes, because it's like a reaffirmation for me that, remember, my plans are better,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not doing them to harm you. So it's like there I grab again, like, okay, God, I don't see it, but I know that your plans are better.
Yeah.
So if you're allowing this, it's because you already see into what it's going to be.
Yeah.
I'm just seeing right now.
Yeah.
And
So like I'm thinking of like
my vision is limited.
Yeah.
Yours is not.
Yeah.
So I am trusting the vision that you have more than what my eyes are seeing right now. So for me, that's been something that I've always, when any kind of change, when it has come to, like, my job, when it's come to my home, when it's come to things with my kids, like anything, like, it's amazing how that one promise, God was like, remember,
It's like pinned to your head.
it's pinned to my head, remember this one.
Yeah.
And I always, like, it always brings me back to, like, a state of, like, okay, no, God, yeah, you're right. Your plans are better, and you've shown me time after time.
Yeah. It's also holding on to like, so that's another one that I'm
Mhm.
like super important when you're walking through change,
Mhm.
especially change that you're struggling to
Mhm.
accept because it's met with a loss or it's met with something that you didn't expect happening.
Exactly.
And so you're struggling to walk through it. The remembering what he has done
Done for
before,
you.
because that will give you an anchor to know
Mhm.
if he did it before,
He's gonna do it
he'll
again.
do it again. If he walked me through the season of change and of loss before, he's going to walk me through this one now. So like, for instance, I think of like, for instance, about again, like everybody in California, because it's just such a something I've been like watching so much. And I look at how the houses end up. And you know what image comes to my mind? The home video that dad has from Hurricane Andrew of our house.
Yes.
And I told Max, I was like, that looks like what Homestead and the Perrine area looked after
Like
Hurricane Andrew.
Yes.
That my mom would be like, it looked like a bomb was dropped in that area. There was absolutely nothing left.
Yeah, and it's, now that you talk about it, and it's like, I look at it, and I kind of, you kind of took me back to the moment.
Yeah.
It's crazy. You just took me back to, like, and
Because you were older. I was
I
only
was
11 months.
Yeah, you were 11 months. I was 8 years old at that time, and I remember that.
You're a little younger than Jacob.
I remember, like, when you walk out, and now that you mention it, it's like it's the same look I see in all the people right now in the news of, like, the fires in California. It's that same feeling of, like it's gone. Like,
It's not here anymore.
it's not here anymore. Like, and it's like I'll never forget.
It's that face of disbelief. Like,
Yeah,
it's like I feel like a surrealness. Like it's real, but it doesn't feel real.
Like, it feels like somebody, like, pinched me, because I'm gonna wake up and this was all a dream. And I remember, and it's crazy because when you said it, the first vision that came to my head is, I remember my dad. Because, mind you, it's the first house that he bought.
Mm-hmm.
It was a house that
Where
him and my mom
yeah.
had put so much work into it,
Yeah.
and they were building it,
And they were raising their kids in there.
remodeling it, and it was. But you know what's so amazing? And that's where I tell you, sometimes God does speak to you. A few months prior to that, God had spoken to my dad, move,
Really?
move. And we had gone to look at houses. But my parents had hold so much value to the home that they were like, no,
He's like,
let's
either
put a
you're.
pool in the
Oh wow!
house.
So God was
They
like,
put a pool in the house. They did, like, let's add a pool. We have the space for the pool. Let's keep working on the house. And God had already told them, move.
really? I never
So
heard that
now
story.
that now that you come, it's like, wow. So when God tells you something, do it.
Wow.
Do it because He's probably protecting you from
So-
something. Wow.
So he told them move,
Uh-huh.
and my parents had low key like
They
the ability to be obedient and like okay
let's go
and
move.
do it. But even then, God was like, okay, either you move by choice or I'm gonna force you to move. And a little drastic there, but wow.
Yeah.
It's like either one way or the other, change is
it's
gonna come.
happen.
Either you could do it.
I think it's how we spoke about it before. God sometimes gives you like, hey, like I know you
The
don't
little
like
nudge,
it.
the
I know
nudge.
you're not happy about it,
Mhm.
but I need you to do it because I'm protecting you from something that's
Mm.
going to happen.
Mm.
So it's like, wow. Wow. So yeah, now that you like right now that we were talking about it, like it all went boom, 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 boom in my brain. I'm like, wait, hold up. Like I remember my dad and mom. We were actually, I remember we went out to look for houses prior, but then my dad was like, no, 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 let's just do a pool in the house.
Yeah.
And Hurricane Andrew was in August,
Mm.
August 24th. And we had literally installed like the pool in July.
Wow.
So we only had a pool for like a
Mhm.
month. Only. And to know that after that, like my dad was like, "Yeah, we're gonna rebuild."
My
this
dad's like,
house.
okay, I heard you. I'm gonna
I
rebuild
heard you now,
and I'm leaving.
We're gonna rebuild the house, and we're just gonna like move.
And we moved
And
like
we
from
moved far.
moved. We went from like Homestead, and if you're familiar with like the Miami area, Homestead was like
Down south.
down south. Like that till this day is far.
Far.
And we moved all the way to Pembroke Pines, like a whole different county.
Everything.
And Pines back then
And you
was
ask
so
my mom
different.
nowadays, what is your favorite city?
Pembroke Pines.
She'll say Pembroke Pines. I love Pembroke Pines. Like
Yeah.
that's where I feel at home. And it's funny because back then, when God told her to move from there,
She didn't want
she
to.
didn't want to because it's where she felt, oh no, like how am I going to go anywhere else? Like this is what I know. But you see, sometimes like I feel like for you guys listening out there, if maybe that's like something that you're going through right now, that you're feeling inside of you that God is telling you, okay, it's time for change.
Yeah.
Listen,
And that change is letting
because
go.
that change
And
is
forgetting
going to happen
something.
either whether you fight it or not. If you embrace it, great. I know it could be scary. I know you're probably going to be saying, God, why do you make
Some
me
change
do
also
this?
takes you out of your comfort
It
zone.
takes you out of your comfort zone.
So like for
God,
us, this podcast is that like it's a change of what we've always done
exactly.
in a way. Stephanie and I have never been like
We've had these conversations,
but
personally,
yeah,
but
never. But
to
it's
actually
a
dedicate
yeah,
ourselves to, because this is not just sitting here and talking. It's a preparation that we
yeah.
have to do, taking time and and it's been so amazing. I think it's been amazing for both of us because like we both call each other like, oh, God gave me this. Oh, and then you were
You're like,
coming,
oh,
God, God
yeah,
gave
yeah,
me this.
yeah.
Like, oh my God, we're so on fire. And
Yeah.
and like, because at the beginning you kind of think about it. You're like, okay, like we're gonna do a podcast, but like, what are the ideas? Like,
Yeah.
how do you?
And it just it's
It
you see
keeps
the flowing.
coming. God keeps bringing them. So, not trying to get off subject right now,
Mhm.
but when it comes to change, if you guys right now are in a situation where God is speaking to you and He's telling you it's time to get up and move. And when I say move, is I'm not literally meaning move like from your home, but like move to like
Maybe it's like
a
changing
different
job. Yeah.
If you're in a relationship and it's not good and God is telling you get up and move, like listen
My
to
life
Him.
is a testimony of that.
Listen
For
to
sure.
Him. Listen to Him because He's not telling you this to hurt you. He's
Yeah.
telling you this because remember, He has the better vision and the vision that goes way beyond the one you're seeing right now. And
Mhm.
He is just trying to protect you.
Yeah.
And whether you want it or not, you can, and the change is going to happen, and it could either happen with him telling you, okay, give me the hand and let's go, or the change is gonna happen, then he's gonna be like, I told you it was gonna happen. Are
A
you
forceful change, and then
now
it's
do
gonna
you
be
wanna now do you want my hand, or do you still want to stay there, because if you still want to stay there, I'm gonna let you stay there, but
yeah.
like I'm
God
my
is a
hand my
perfect
hand is
gentleman. Yeah,
here. My hand is here, and I'm
yeah.
extending it, but you gotta grab onto
Also,
it.
yeah,
So
you got to take the steps too.
so if you guys are in that situation, like, look at this podcast maybe as, okay, God affirming you. Okay, like, oh man, I didn't want, this is not what I wanted to hear.
Stephanie and Priscilla, you guys,
Did it
stop this conversation
like,
now.
I don't want to hear about this change right now. This is not what I want. But look at it as God letting you know that He loves you.
And He's guiding you into
He's guiding
something
you,
new.
and the something new can look scary at the beginning and unknown, but remember, it always has better
It kind of,
purpose.
so the verse that's coming to my mind is forget the former things, for I'm
Mhm.
doing a new thing.
Mhm.
I make ways in the wilderness and ways in the wasteland.
Uh-huh.
So I look at it and I think of like the Israelites
Mhm.
in leaving Egypt, and that for them was a change. And they had to walk in the wilderness for 40 years, and they yearned so many times the things of the past, of how life was in
Was
Egypt,
before. Mhm.
because walking in the wilderness was going to be hard and it was going to be difficult, and they didn't understand it because they didn't know where they were going. And so you can probably be walking into your own wilderness, but you will get to where God has promised you. Like, your promised land is there. Just keep walking and forget the former things, because a lot of our things are like our habits. When change happens, it's like, you know what, like you'll start really good and then you go back to your old habit.
Yeah, definitely.
And you go back to the old thing, and so you're hindering the change from happening and embracing it because you're holding on to the old. And it's like, you need to also like mourn the loss,
Exactly.
but don't
Which
go,
is fine.
which is fine, but stop going back to it.
Exactly.
So stop going back to that ex-boyfriend that God
Uh-huh.
is telling you, you need to, my mom says, you need to stop putting a comma where God is putting a period.
Amen to that.
And so, like, if you're in a relationship right now where God has told you, you need to change this person and take them out of your life because they're no longer needed there, and they're not serving
is
you
not
in
the
the
one.
season that you're going into. If it's a friend, if it's a job, an environment that you no longer need to be in, because it's not going to service you for the season. The change is scary, but you need to let go so that God can bring forth a new thing.
Exactly.
Like, there's like an image of like, you need to let go of the grasp and open your hand.
Exactly.
If you keep holding on, you can't literally open your hand to something new.
Exactly. You can't.
You have to let it go. So yeah. And one last thing that I do is that, and it kind of goes hand in hand with what you mentioned, is I remind myself when change happens that God is walking the change with me. And I think that's so key, because if you feel like you have to do it alone, it's harder.
Struggle.
And
Definitely.
it's much harder. But when you know that God is the one walking with you and He's guiding your life, because change, you don't know where you're going, how it's going to be like. But if you know that God's there with you, He's going to give you the peace, He's going to give you the clarity, He's going to give you the understanding, He's going to give you the favor for wherever it is that you're walking into. So, like, knowing that you don't have to do it by yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
And
Exactly. That's such a key point. It's
yeah,
the fact of when you do it like that you know that you're not by yourself.
yeah. So one thing that I've been praying, so like as I mentioned in the beginning of the episode, like a change that I'm struggling with currently is like having to change Emma's school. So I keep praying, Lord, if your presence doesn't go with us, then don't make us go. But if your presence is there, then I'll go. But like that affirmation of like going where God is calling me, and going because God's presence is going to go with us. So like that is something that's like, I'll take change as long as you're there with me.
Exactly.
And you're walking that change with me, because there's changes that you'll do that God didn't call you to do. He didn't call you to do them.
Exactly. You do those.
You do those changes. You got
Exactly.
that hair. He didn't tell you to get that hair, dude. He didn't tell you to get that hair.
He didn't tell you to do that to your face or that whatever.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
do
he
to
didn't
like
tell you
to do that. Like
you
no,
chose to do
you
that.
chose that.
But it's making sure, like, God, I want to be where your presence is. And knowing that if this change is here and I'm walking this change, it's because your presence is there with me.
And you know something? Now that you say that, and let me know if that's how it goes for you afterwards. But when you do invite God to those changes and those process, don't you sometimes feel that things you kind of want to tell God, okay, don't let it be so easy. But when you start seeing it flows, and you're like, okay, everything's
flows.
like all the dots are just adding up, like how they're supposed to. There's nothing intervening, and that is the cue point to it. Flows. Like it flows. If even and you're battling it, but you're seeing that it's flowing.
My mind doesn't want to have peace with it because I don't want to let go.
Exactly.
And I have to learn to just
let go.
Open my hand and let God guide me.
Letting go is hard. Letting go is hard. And a lot of us struggle with like letting go. But we have to understand that once we let go, it's like, okay, all right, God.
Yeah.
We know you're in control. And now I can take in the new that you have for me and embrace it.
Yeah. And we can cling on to the one that never changes. Yeah. So everything around our life will eventually change. The way we look, our family, our homes, our kids will change. Everything around us will change. But the only thing that never changes is God. So if you're walking through a season of change right now, cling to the one that never changes. And that is walking with you in this change right now. He's going to give you everything that you need.
Exactly.
The wisdom, the favor, the peace, and walk it and learn to embrace it. More in the old, more in the lost, but you have to also learn to forget it so you can embrace the new
one. And when we say forget it, it's don't forget. Like, you don't have to forget. Like, if it's home,
the
like,
memory,
but like just
don't
let
stop clinging on.
Let it go in the sense that okay, that was the old. Now this is the new, and the new is because there's gonna be greater blessing.
Yeah.
So yeah, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed our little convo here. Once again, if you guys are experiencing change right now, and if this was the little one that you were waiting to hear, that God is like, okay, you heard them, I've been talking to you. Listen to him. Yeah. Listen to him. Don't
share
be
your stories with us too. We want to hear from you guys. We want to know, like, if this spoke to you because you're walking through a change. Like, let us know. We would love
feedback.
Yeah,
we love feedback from you guys,
or things that you've done to walk through change.
And exactly, and if maybe you're having trouble with that change and you need prayer support, like reach out to us. We would
love to pray for you guys.
Love to pray for you guys and help you walk through this change process. So yes, guys, thank you for staying tuned, and until next time.
And faithful listeners, thank you so much.
Bye,
we love you guys. Bye.
Thanks so much for spending time with us here at Lighthouse Collective. We hope today's conversation brought a little light to your day and encouraged you to keep moving forward no matter where you are in your journey. Remember, you're never alone. There's always hope, always peace, and always a light to guide you. If you enjoyed this episode, we'd love for you to subscribe, leave a review, or share with someone who might need a little encouragement. Until next time, stay anchored in hope and keep shining your light.